obviously, just wanted to give back to the community, maybe making it a little bit easier.
Right.
What was like the call to action? Like when were you like, okay, I need to now is the time to get involved? Because obviously you may have felt that way for a
Yeah.
while, but when was it like I need to do this?
When I witnessed Frank Nitti marching from Milwaukee to Washington D.C. And my son was struggling. He's been struggling mentally with like a PTSD almost because he got involved with some people, just the wrong type of crowds or whatever, and was getting jumped. And like he was afraid to do anything, afraid to go out the house, afraid to get on the bus,
Yeah.
afraid to go to school. And I was seeing him struggle. And so he ended up going to jail. He was in jail for 4 months. And when Frank walking, he came walking right past my house, and the excitement in my son, his want to be out there, and know that somebody's fighting for people like him, it made me go out and do that because I knew he couldn't go do it. And
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I had time on my hands, like I've been off work since October. I had a serious back injury, and I had to have major spine surgery in February. So I still hadn't been able to work. And by the grace of God, I was able to walk still, after the surgery because I could have been paralyzed. I was almost paralyzed,
Oh my goodness.
so I was able to walk, and I was like, well, I'm walking,
Yeah.
like I didn't march.
That's a good way to put it. It's
Yeah,
a good way to look at
I
it.
didn't march. I didn't march the whole time. I didn't march a lot of the time, but I marched enough, and it just felt like I had missed so much because all I've done is work.
Yeah.
So like I've missed so much of any opportunity of trying to be out there and make a change,
Yeah.
and I felt like I was fighting by myself. I was fighting this fight against the school system, against the healthcare system, like the work environments. I've always worked, and it was always a struggle, like it was always just like you didn't have time to go to school because you were working so much,
Yeah.
So
What did you do before all this?
before this, I worked at Amazon before this, and before that, I have been a cook for
Okay, so that's where the
yeah,
catering was.
I've
I
been in the
gotcha.
food service for a little bit over 28 years.
Oh, okay. So you're
Yeah,
experienced in it
yeah,
then. Yeah. I
yeah.
gotcha.
I ended up going back to school for some time for culinary arts at Gateway. So
Oh, cool,
yeah,
cool.
like that's always been my passion. Like, and I love doing big events. I've always done big catering events and things like that. And it's just my sister's. Well, it's actually my sister's place, but because of the wording,
Yeah,
like when
yeah.
we went to go get the name, I had to go with house. So, but my sister's house is like always been an idea that I wanted to
It
bring.
originally was going to be food related.
Yeah,
Okay.
originally it was gonna be food related. Like it was gonna be, but it was gonna be kind of community service as well because I was talking about offering food to people, to families, like because as a mother and my kids were very active in the sports. But I would work. I would go drop kids off at practice, pick kids up from practice,
Hmm.
or go to games and come back from games. And like you're running so much, you don't have time to sit down and make a meal for your kids.
Yeah.
And it's like you go in there, you go do the same thing as the same routine. You got 3 kids that you have basketball practice, soccer practice, and another basketball practice.
Yeah.
And you're trying to get home and
And
get
you
them
got to
some food.
work and deal with
Yeah,
all
and
your
then you got to
stuff.
work and do my stuff too. Who really has a chance to actually cook a really healthy meal for them? And
Yeah.
I thought about my friends and other people that I had met out there during that time, and how people were like literally giving their kids, just shoving fast food down their kids' throats.
Yeah.
America has the highest rate of obesity in
Yeah.
children. So it's just like if you can cook a healthy meal or have that prepped and ready for a family to pick up, be like, hey, I know you got 30 minutes. Just swing by, grab it. It's ready for you. Pop it in the oven
Yeah.
and go.
Yeah.
Come to my sister's place.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
that's just been a focus, and it's just like, and my brother as well has been always implementing to me, like helping the kids and making sure that you reach out for someone else's kids. So at my sister's house, we're trying to strive to develop programs where the kids don't have to feel like they have to go home and be at home by themselves.
Oh, I got you.
You extend your time, you extend your day to these children that are in need, to these families that are working 2 jobs a day and
Yeah.
they can't go home, but their kids are at home, and they've taken away all the community centers that the kids could possibly utilized.
Especially right now.
Yeah, in Kenosha. Like we had the CYC, we had the Lincoln Center, we had the other Boys and Girls Club. All that is gone. So you have the Boys and Girls Club, and it costs an arm and a leg, you know. And even if you're working 2 jobs, sometimes it's very pricey, especially if you got 3 and 4 kids, you know.
Yeah.
So like trying to bring back a community center like that for the kids to be able to.
How much is it now for the Boys and Girls Club or like a YMCA? I know
Well,
YMCA is like 30 a month, isn't it? 30 or 32 a month.
I'm not really sure because when over $76 right now.
What is it? Over 76 in Kenosha? Oh my goodness.
Because I know when my
Wow.
kids, she's 22 now. So
Yeah.
when they were little, it was $65 for the Boys and Girls Club
Oh
per
my
child,
God.
and then $125 per sport.
Wow.
You know,
Holy
so
cow.
you know, like you're working and
That's absurd.
Yeah.
Especially, and like I think for me personally, that's something like there's not a lot of, I don't know out in Kenosha per se, but I know out here we don't have like a ton of great like parks and whatnot. And
Right.
we do have them. We have
Right.
a bunch, but I know like that's something when I went and lived out in Janesville, there was a huge community of guys where we would all just go hoop, like, you know, older
Right.
men, young kids, everything would go like play basketball and whatnot at parks.
Right.
I think that's super important
yeah,
to have
it is.
something. Parks versus rec plexes though and things like that are very different in that, you know, anybody can just waltz up to the park
you
and
don't
that's-
have control over
yeah,
a lot
yeah,
of stuff,
you know. And so I think I definitely like the idea of trying. So is that like a goal that you'd like to accomplish?
Yeah, I'm trying to get some things and play for that. And I know with like we're basically out of school shut down, so everybody's on virtual stuff. For my friend's son, he's in a disability school, so they need the hands-on training. So they're going to school. He's autistic, so he goes to school. But with school being out the way it is, I'm hoping to implement this, you know, like by next fall, you know.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple different programs that we're working towards too, and this is like the non-bullying program that we're trying to instill, you know. So
How do you go about start trying, like, what is a non-bullying program?
non-bullying program is where you implement well, my program is
Yeah.
where you implement washers and dryers into the school. So a lot of kids get bullied for their clothes not being clean. They
Oh, really?
are not being able to afford to have wash clothes or new clothes, you know. And a lot of kids are mean. A lot of kids are mean.
Yeah.
And it's hurtful. And it gives the kids, it breaks them down a little bit more because you never know what they're going through at home. So by taking that thought and taking that fear of them, you know, going to school with dirty clothes, they already have the breakfast club that come in early in the morning. So why not during that time take their clothes, make sure they have a clean set of clothes right there that they can go put on. We'll take that
Yeah.
clothes and wash it while they are eating breakfast.
Interesting.
You know, like, and then
I think that's a good definitely a good first step
Right.
to handling. I wouldn't have thought of that personally.
Yeah. It's just like
It's a very simple, but you know,
it's very simple,
helpful.
and you can't even imagine just that one little change that they have in their day
Yeah.
is how it affects them. You know,
Well, yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, especially when you like, if you just don't have the ability to
Right.
even have clean clothes, like you just don't
Exactly.
have the option, you know. I think that, you know, that being changed, having that option, just like you're not worried about it. You're
Yeah.
not like
You
whether or
take
not
that
you even
care-
got picked on or not, like
Yeah.
you're not stressed out about that. which is big.
exactly.
What like is that like to the extent of what, just like, is that kind of like the first step, or is
No,
like
yeah, that's just like the first step to it, and then like and you have like, and this is where you implement the parents into the school.
Mhm.
You know, like you get the community to start volunteering to come in and do this, or hey, you got 2 hours this morning to come in here and do this, or 2 hours after school to come out here and sit with the kids, you know,
yeah.
because you want them to feel secure with people that, you know, that they can trust is going to go in there and take care of them.
Yeah.
And it gives the parents and the other parents out here a chance to actually go in there and see what's going on with these kids. It kind of puts the responsibility back onto the parents of knowing what's going on with your kids. You know, like,
Yeah.
we get distracted, we get busy, we're working, we're trying to take care of a home, but I feel like a lot of parents have let it slip to be solely responsible for the schools to take care of your kids.
A lot of people use public school as basically childcare. A lot of
Exactly.
people.
So like implementing this program and telling them, hey, we got 2 hours available this week. Can someone sign up? You know, like we need you to sign up. It just gives you like this sense that you're actually doing something and taking a part. And I think like I've seen a lot of change in Kenosha. It's been minor, but it's been major to me because so many people have come out of their houses and do stuff. Like I've been working with Miss Arnetta doing these food trucks.
Okay.
So actually Nick has started that from UBMW. He had got a call from an ex-alderman in Racine, and they had food trucks that they were about to start giving out boxed food to people.
Mm-hmm.
And did we want to get a part of it? So we did. We jumped on it right away, including Miss Arnetta from God's Kitchen in it. And we reached out. And when I reached out, we reached out to just everybody on social media.
Yeah.
And we're like, we need help. We need volunteers to unload this food truck. It was 1,100 boxes.
Yeah.
know, we're getting at 8 o'clock in the morning.
How do you figure out, being someone I'm pretty like ignorant to how all of that all works. How do you guys like plan like okay, we're gonna like, where do you bring that food? Who are you looking to bring that food? How do you determine where you're gonna do it?
Well, I'm not sure who determined where to bring. I think Miss Arnetta set it up to go for the first day. It went out to Model Market, which is a corner store in one of the neighborhoods in Kenosha. And from there, she's gone over to the empty parking lot for Kmart. It's empty, so they just come and bring the trucks over that way. And they've been doing it over at that location for the past 3 weeks. And I think that's where it's going to be from now on. So,
and how's that work then? Is it just, families that just need food or whatever can come? Okay,
yep.
Cool.
And with COVID and everything, the volunteers that we have out there, we're the ones that's loading the boxes into the cars, and then sending the families on their way. Miss Arnetta does a lot with the homeless. Like she's been doing this for years. So she's been going out to uptown area where the homeless are sitting outside the burnt down buildings now.
Yeah.
And like she's been feeding the homeless people, and she was feeding off her own dime,
Yeah.
So when Senator Taylor had implemented these trucks or told us that we had these trucks, she's like sending more and more, we had one, and then like she called back 2 days later, we had two. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's a good deal. Right there.
But when we did it and we sent out the call for help, so many people from the community showed up. And it wasn't just like black people. It wasn't just Mexicans or whites. It was like everybody. It was somebody from everywhere, all over Kenosha. And that was amazing to me.
Yeah.
And that's the change that we need in Kenosha, like uniting as one and coming together as one to heal our communities. And it's not just the black community or brown community, it's the white community as well. So everybody's getting involved and everybody's feeling a sense of responsibility to do something,
Yeah.
And everybody is doing something. Like we did the Code and Toy Drive, and there's like 6 other ones going on, Boys and Girls Club, I guess, decided they weren't going to do it this year. And these kids rely on this every year for Christmas gifts because a lot of them don't get anything, and they're not doing it. So the families are able to reach out to these other places that are doing these coat drives, or random people that are doing coat drives and toy drives, and get signed up,
It's
like
sort of the community pooling their resources together.
Exactly.
Because that's something I wondered too with like, with me, even your organization, even with UBMW, all that stuff. Like how do organizations like you guys accumulate the funds to do the great things that you guys do?
Yeah, it's
like,
hard.
I'd imagine it's hard, but is it mostly like, do you find like donors? Is it like,
a lot of people have donated. I know Remax in Kenosha, a realtor, she just reached out. Like she had put a post up, and my friend, she reached out to this lady, and like they went out, and her whole family were amazing, beautiful people. Just showed up with diapers and everything for these families. Like, what do we need, and what else can we do? And and it's like you really got people that's genuinely out there wanting to do something to help, and everybody is understanding that times are hard right now. And it's hitting everybody. It's not hitting just one class of people. It's hitting a lot of people. You know?
Yeah.
So
everybody is at a disadvantage right now with
Right.
COVID and everything going on. Hey, thanks for watching there, guy. click right over here if you want to see that episode in its entirety. Or you can click over here and subscribe to the channel. See all the other fun shit we do here. It's really up to you, guy.